What's up, everybody? Today we are going to do grades for Delon Wright and Landry Shamet, and we're going to talk about Ryan Rollins and his saga because he just signed with the Milwaukee Bucks in a two-way deal. Should the Washington Wizards have given him a second chance? Let's talk about it next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again with my guy, the real Ed Oliver. And we appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. And today we are going to do a grade for recently departed Delon Wright and Landry Shamet, and then we're going to leave asking the question, should the Washington Wizards have given Ryan Rollins a second chance? Because he just signed a two-way deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're going to explore that. So let's get into it, E. Looking at Delon Wright, obviously, he just was recently waived or bought out, rather. He was bought out by the Washington Wizards and is intending on, upon clearing waivers, obviously, signing with the Miami Heat. So real quick, how do you feel about that? Him being bought out and him going to Miami?
I'm happy for him, man. I'm happy that he's going to be on a playoff team. That's awesome for him, and going to the Miami Heat, the Heat culture. I think he fits right in to their culture, just his motor. And this season, he kind of didn't look like the same guy. He wasn't really moving as quickly or as fluidly. Offensively, he was kind of, taking some ill-advised shots as well. But you look at his minutes, ever since Brian Keefe started coaching the team, he was getting like 3 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 6 minutes there. There's really no point in having him on the team. And, it opens up more space for younger guys to get some more minutes. We'll see what happens with that. But, no, this is great for him, man. He's a great defender. I think he'll be great coming off the bench for the Heat, too. I mean, this is the perfect match for him. I think it's a perfect situation for him with Miami Heat culture. I think he fits right in. I mean, still with deflections, I think he was better last year by far, because when we saw him get injured, our defense was awful. Yeah. And you saw the impact that it had with him being out last year, rather than when he missed some games this year. The defense didn't look much less. But last year, it was like, wow, it was night and day with the defense. We were so awful when he left the team. But yeah, steals and deflections, the name of his game, getting deflections, getting steals, breaking up passes, all kinds of stuff, getting in the passing lanes, just having a quick motor. That's his best attribute there. And, I wish him the best. I think this is a great move. Maybe Landry Shamet, we're going to talk about him a little bit later, but I think he might be next. We'll see.
Yeah.
He's getting a little bit more minutes. He's getting like 15 to 17 minutes here and there. But, I give him this season. Last season, I would probably give him around an A-. If you're just talking about defense, you're talking about an A. Overall, probably like a B+. This year, honestly, both sides have kind of been not what it was or what it used to be. 4 points a game, 2 assists, 39% from the field, 36% from the three. So yeah, I'd probably give him about a really like a C, like a B-, C+ this year, but he hasn't really played much. Then you look at last year, he was in the 99th percentile for steals per 75 possessions, 98th percentile in deflections last year. I mean, he was incredible last year, but this year I probably give him like a B-, a C+ this year.
Yeah, I'm looking at around a C- because injuries. He just hasn't been the same player, and I think the leadership is still there. It's just last year he really showed how important he was and how important of a move he was. I always thought it was a really good under the radar move because he provided a lot of leadership, of veteran presence, and his defensive prowess on the second unit was key. If you look at last year when he was out of the lineup, man, overall the team defense got worse, but especially for the second team. So he was very important to the second team as far as their defensive identity. But yeah, I mean, the sample size, the injuries, the inconsistent minutes, it's just a lot of factors. I think that the grading is not really on Delon, is on this situation. It's just unfortunate how, he didn't really have a productive season. You just said his stat line. I mean, 4 points, non-factors. So, but let's not take away from the fact that on defense, he was a dog. I mean, like I said, he provided great defense on the second team, great defensive identity on the second team, leadership in the second team. So I believe that every bench unit needs a DeLon Wright. And, just a leader on the second unit and a guy who can defend at a high level and can spread the floor. So, yeah, it's tough to really grade him because it's unfortunate. I mean, injuries, inconsistent minutes. But I mean, DeLon, like I said, I didn't really follow him too much in his career. I mean, I am an NBA fan, but I probably, look at Wizards games and Wizards players. But I was iffy on us signing him from the get-go, to be honest with you. But when I saw that what he provided the scene, to me, he was probably one of the best under the radar moves we made as far as role guys in the organization, because he came in, he did his job, he did it at a high level. He's not a player who's going to wow you. He's not a guy who's going to drop 20 points a night. He's not a guy who's going to drive the lane like John Wall. He's a guy that came in and did his job. So like I said, definitely thank you for your service. And try to get that win, try to get that championship in Miami, because, and again, like you said, he does fit with the Heat culture, what the Heat is trying to do. The Heat culture is a very structured culture. They have the high expectations, and I think that he could definitely fit into that and do well. So, yeah, I'm looking at a C. And like I said, maybe even a C minus, because it's just a very uneventful season. But a lot of that is not on him. But I think he does fit in well in Miami, what they're trying to do.
Yeah, DeLon Wright will always be known for that Raptors series when he cooked the Wizards in the playoff. Yeah, like 20 points or something like that. It was ridiculous how he just came off the bench and torched us. But no, I mean, he was a good professional. Of course, he was yelling at Jordan Poole one game, but that doesn't really matter. But I think he'll fit right in with the Miami Heat. And yeah, it was time. It was time for sure. And when we signed him, I thought it was a good deal. It was like a veteran. Not the veteran. It was the mid-level exception deal, so about $10 million. And then with the buyout, I was reading the buyout. Of course, it's like they give up their money to essentially leave the team. And then one definition says when a team waives a player, the player gets his freedom, and the team must pay the remaining salary of the player when a player is bought out. The team and the player sit down and verbally agree that in exchange for the player's freedom, the team gets a break from the remainder of the player's salary. So definitely some interesting wording there. But I mean, so he moves on, and I wish him the best with the Miami Heat.
Absolutely, man. I enjoyed him here in DC, and definitely go do your thing in South Beach, man, because you can't be mad at the location. I'm just saying. So, but I think the one thing to look at real quick before we move on is who takes up those minutes. I mean, I'm looking at one guy, Johnny Davis. We've got to see Johnny Davis, man. Like, do we see Johnny? We'll see. I mean, I think this is definitely an opportunity where let's give Johnny some minutes. So, there's definitely something we're going to talk about in the future, especially in the second half of the season. But we're going to go ahead and move on. And we're going to do a grade for Landry Shamet, the sharpshooter off the bench. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. So you're wondering, right? What is PrizePicks? Well, it is actually America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 300 members, or 300 million members. Lord, we are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 players and their stat projections, and watch the winnings roll. And it's that simple. It's demon time on PrizePicks. Oh, you can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Wow. Demons and goblins are the newest and most exciting way to play at PrizePicks. Squares marked with red demons or green goblins get you different payouts. You can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. That is all you got to do. So all you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use promo code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit matchup to $100. And again, all you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use promo code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit matchup to $100. And Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. So let's get into it. Landry Shamet, man. Next up on the block to be graded. And Kai, I mean, it's interesting to really grade him. I'm gonna let you grade him real quick, but it kind of like DeLon Wright in other ways, man. His minutes are fluctuate here and there, but he has provided quality points and minutes off the bench. So looking at Landry Shamet, what are you grading him at the mid-season point, D?
It's so hard to grade him too.
I know.
I feel like he's been in and out of the lineup, and then when he
Yeah.
does play, he doesn't get a lot of minutes too. So I give him about a B plus now because of I love the feistiness that he showed
Yeah.
against Larry Nance, and I like that. We need a lot of dogs on this team. We need a lot of guys who are willing to, get physical with people and just not take any stuff from other people. I like that because we have a lot of nice guys on the roster, but we need some mean guys. So I like that out of him against Larry Nance for sure. But yeah, he's more athletic than what I thought Landry Shamet was. He can shoot the three. Of course, we all knew that. He's good coming off the bench. For his role, he's just a really good guy to come off the bench and knock down threes. I think he's a guy that would kind of be in a good situation where Delon Wright is, where he's coming off the bench for a playoff team. Kind of like how Landry came off the bench with the Suns and the Clippers as well. And he had to start a couple games for the Clippers too. But I think that's just where he's better suited on a playoff team, on a competitive team, just coming off the bench, being a knockdown shooter, being a sharp shooter. So just looking at some of his numbers: 7 points a game, 1 rebound, which is okay for coming off the bench. It's not great, but 35% from the three, and 81% from the free throw line. So I think he's been okay for the minutes that he's gotten, and I probably give him like a solid B. I mean, you look at Keith when he came in. I mean, all his minutes have been kind of the same. It's been like 18, 19, 16, 15 minutes. So it's kind of like they have him on a timer, basically. It's like, okay, we're just going to give you 10 to 15 minutes, and that's it. Yeah. And you talk about Johnny, it's like if they do end up buying out Landry, which who knows if they do. But if they do end up doing that, then you can probably give that 15 to Johnny instead, or at least give those 10 minutes to Johnny instead. And I think that would probably be the right move. But I do like Landry. I think he plays hard, but for a team that's rebuilding, trying to see what the young guys can do, I think you can possibly give those 10 to 13 minutes away to Johnny Davis instead, or split them between Johnny and Pat Baldwin.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm actually a big fan of Shamet. I was very surprised to see that man got ups. I mean, because like I said, I didn't watch him exclusively just from the highlights from watching other games. But to me, he seemed like a sharpshooter, which he is. But he's got the ability to attack the basket. And like you said, he's got a dog, man. I mean, Larry Nance Jr., like I said, I don't understand why he got the T, because if you look at the replay, I mean, Larry Nance picked him up by his rear end and put him on the court. Like, what else do you think he was going to do in that situation, man? So I like the dog in him, the fight. We need, like you said, we've been saying this for a couple of years now, man. We need more dogs in this team. We need, the choir boys, they need to kind of make room for some dogs, man, because we need guys who have that attitude, you know what I'm saying, who's willing to fight, who are willing to die for loose balls. So I definitely love the fight. I love the ups. I mean, looking at his age, man, he's 26 years old. So I mean, he doesn't necessarily. I mean, I get the point of view where he's holding up potential minutes for Johnny Davis, and I definitely agree with that. But I mean, he's got a couple years left on his deal, so I haven't heard much right now as any kind of news of them buying him out. But it's gonna be interesting to see what they do as far as him and Johnny Davis going forward, because to a certain degree they're gonna have to choose one on the two. Because he was Shamet on the team. You have no place for Johnny Davis. But on a rebuilding team, like you just said, on a rebuilding team where the emphasis to where the priority should be trying to develop these young guys, you would probably want to see Johnny Davis getting those minutes. So, I mean, I think that a lot of contending teams who are trying to make that playoff run could definitely use the skill set of a guy who can be that sharpshooter off the bench and who can attack the basket, who doesn't have a high usage rate and could be a source of points off the bench. So I think that they should definitely explore buying him out. And because I do like Shamet, man, but he just doesn't fit the timeline right now. Like I said, I want to see what Johnny can do, because we have to find out right now what Johnny can do, whether he is part of the future if he's not. And I think it's more pivotal to see what Johnny Davis does than to have Shamet on the team. And I said this with Tyus, I said this with Kuz. If this was a team that was trying to gear up to win, I wouldn't have any problem with any of them on the team. And I was a big emphasis of us making major moves at the deadline. So I think we need to go ahead and explore a buyout for Shamet, because we got to see what Johnny can do, man. Because if he's not part of the future, then we've got to figure out what to do with him. 10th overall pick, man. You got to see what you got in him. And like I said, that was the last Tommy Shepard pick. So not a lot of loyalty from the new front office, as you can see. And where does he fit in plans as far as interim coach Brian Key? Because I asked that question about Johnny Davis both to Wes Unseld Jr. and interim coach Brian Keefe. And I kind of got the same answer, which was kind of wait and see. But I mean, look, we're in the second half, so we got to kind of see now. Because if he doesn't get minutes in the second half of the season, I don't think he has a future here. Because 2 years and you're not seeing significant minutes with the Washington Wizards, I mean, it's going to derail his career, man. I don't see what his career is going to be. Because if you try to flip him, he doesn't have any value. And if you keep him, you've got to give him minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see going forward what they intend to do with Johnny Davis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at Shamet's contract real quick because I know Delon, he only had 1 year left. This was the last year's contract.
Yeah.
Landry is actually still on his contract for this year, of course, 2024, 25, which is actually non-guaranteed. Then he has a club option in 2025, 2026. So he still has 2 years left on his deal after this season. So I know it's a little bit more complicated with his contract. So they still have an opportunity to trade him in the offseason. It's not like DeLon where he's a free agent, Tyus, free agent this offseason. Yeah. So they still have an opportunity to kind of package him with somebody. And his contract's not terrible. It's $11 million, which is about right for DeLon, mid-level exception. So I see them kind of packaging him up with somebody else this offseason. I think that's the only way you're really going to move him. I know they tried to move him at the deadline, but of course nobody really was interested like that. DeLon, they tried, but the Bucks moved on. They got Cameron Payne, and they traded Cameron Payne for Patrick Beverley. But yeah, Landry, I mean, yeah, he like you said, he's super athletic. He's a good finisher around the rim. He can shoot the three, plays hard. He's a good professional, good player, culture guy, all that good stuff. So, but like we both said, we can see those minutes possibly go somewhere else. And, Corey Kisper's playing really well too off the bench. So, you got a shooter right there. You can never have enough shooters. Yeah. But, we'll see what happens with Landry the offseason. I think he ends up being traded.
Yeah, same here, man. I mean, I think they definitely need to explore buyout option and be very transparent with him and have that conversation. But he's definitely an asset because I believe that, every contending team needs a guy who can shoot off the bench, who could be that microwave scorer off the bench. So I'm with you, E. I think he definitely, if he's not bought out, he can definitely be moved. And with, several guys on the roster, I could see a move at trade day, a move, kind of like this previous offseason where a lot of these moves are made before the draft. I can definitely see that because now we got 2 first-round picks and they could pie you as a player too and try to move back into the lottery. And 2 lottery picks, man, it'd be sweet. But, in another scenario, and obviously we're going to talk about this, man, and because I know you everybody wants us to talk a lot, about draft stuff, but it's going to be interesting, because there are some gems at the end of the first round. I'm looking at Isaiah Collier, which his draft stock has fallen considerably, and his performance has been picking up. So we might be able to get a guy in the end of the first round. But again, another episode for another day. So we're going to get into Ryan Rollins. He is a new member of the Milwaukee Bucks. But the question is, should we have given him another chance? We're going to answer that. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. So it is 2024. And sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest, right? Big or small, certain things can really start to get at you. I'm trying to tell you. It's important to let that out. Always let it out, especially into someone who's unbiased on your life. So today I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking about the same thing this week. And that is maybe you're down because of the economy. I mean, right now, groceries and pretty much every bill is making it hard right now. So that can definitely cause some issues as far as mentally with you. So I got the cure for that, BetterHelp. Therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team. And it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try, right? Because it's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule, which is huge. So all you have to do is visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. So Ryan Rollins, and this is from Shams Sharanya. And he says the Milwaukee Bucks are signing guard Ryan Rollins to a 2-way contract. Agents Mike Silverman and Brandon, nice name, Guard of Equity Basketball told at Athletic the former Warriors second-round pick spent time with the Wizards this season and now lands with the Bucks. So we all know, if you don't know, I mean, the situation with Ryan Rollins, the theft and stuff of that nature. E, that Ted Leonsis is very hesitant to retain guys who have issues off the court. You know, we saw the Gilbert Arenas when he first bought the team from A. Paulian, man. Gilbert Arenas was sent out here to Orlando, and then later and then John Wall, his saga. So looking at that, looking at Ryan Rollins and the fact that he is a young guy who has potential. Do you think the Wizards should have gave him a second chance and try to work with him? Or do you think what he did was bad enough to where a second chance wasn't warranted?
I initially agree with the move, with them just releasing him.
Yeah.
But I do believe in second chances. I am happy. I will say I'm happy that he's getting a second chance. I am happy that another team is giving him another chance to play. I think he's a young, talented player. He definitely certainly needs help for sure. For him to go into a Target and just, keep stealing, when you are, I get it, NBA money sometimes, it depends on how they manage their money, how players manage it. There's no excuses for going into a Target and stealing soap and deodorant and candles and whatever the stuff he was stealing. I do get it that, when you're a rookie, you're on a rookie contract, a lot of that money can go pretty quickly. Agents get a percentage of the money. And, you buy your cars, fancy clothes, just however you deal with the money. I get it. They may not be as, well off as people think they are. Some players when they're on a rookie contract. But like I said, it's still no excuse for stealing whatever he stole out of Target. I am happy that he's getting, once again, I'm happy he's getting the second chance for the Wizards. They're trying to build a different culture, a new culture. And I get the reasoning why, and who knows what happened behind the scenes. Maybe Will Dawkins and Schlenk and Winger, they had a conversation with him before he stole. Maybe he stole one or two times.
Yeah.
And they were notified about it. They sat him down, told him about it. Maybe he went back and stole again. They were like, hey, we're going to try to work with you. You just can't do this. And maybe he went back. Like I said, I don't know behind closed doors. Maybe it's like something like that happened where they already told him like, hey, we see you. We heard. You got to stop this. And then he went back and did it again. Yeah. And if that was the case, and I understand them releasing him now, sometimes, like I said, you give players second chances. We've seen players for other crimes get other chances. Miles, I'm a big fan of Miles Bridges. Unfortunately, so what happened with him with the domestic incident.
Yeah.
He got a second chance. He got suspended. The Hornets kept him on the team. So we've seen a lot of things happen in football and in basketball where players are definitely given a second chance. They're kept on the same team and stuff like that. So it's definitely a dicey situation and stuff like that. But I do think looking back at it, They kind of did make the right decision. I was fine with what they did. Yeah. I was upset when the news came out. I was like, they really waived Ryan Rollins? Are you kidding me? This guy has talent. He can play. He did really well in the summer league. He's athletic. He can play. He can defend and all that. Athletic. So, yeah, that's a good question, man. Looking back at it, would I have kept him? But I knew he was going to get another chance in the league. I knew another team was gonna sign him. Later on, but to make a long story short, man, would I have kept him? No, I think looking back at it, I think they made the right decision. But I am a big fan. I'll be rooting for him for the rest of his career.
Oh, same here, man.
But he needs better help too. He needs to see a psychiatrist and whatever is going on. He definitely needs to talk to somebody.
Yeah, I mean. And like you said, it's really tough to tell behind the scenes what was said because, like you said, this could have been an issue where he's done it before and they've had a conversation with him. But I'll say this: if he was released solely on that one incident, I kind of wanted them to work with him, man. And the reason for that is this, man.
Yeah.
Everything's perspective. Everything is always perspective, right? It's kind of like one of those situations where you walk into the store and you see a young mother stealing diapers, and in one hand it's like, what are you stealing diapers for? In the other hand, it's like she's stealing diapers for a reason. And I get it. People are about to say, oh, well, he's an NBA player. And like you said, not every NBA player is making significant money, man. And it's kind of like, and I get it. They're still making a lot more money than we are. But here's the thing. You just don't know what's going on behind the scenes, especially another aspect to look at mental health. Growing up, man, I knew people, man, that stole stuff just to steal stuff. And it's just like, it's just something, this is what they did. Everybody, it's just one of those things where if it's a mental health thing, deal with that. Because he's a young player, he's got potential. And I'm a big believer in second chances, man. Now, once you get to third and maybe even fourth, man, it's kind of like, all right, man, what are we doing here? But, I definitely am a believer in second chances, man. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Miles Bridges. Now, don't condone what he did, obviously. But, every situation, man, there's always a different perspective and a different view, man. And that's why it's really tough to judge situations like this because, one, we don't know what was said behind the scenes in the office with Michael Winger, and Will Dawkins. Like I said, this could have been a reoccurring issue, but I'm just hoping. I hope that don't feel. I don't think that you should just get rid of a guy because he has an issue to a certain degree. People forget, old school people definitely know Dennis Rodman, man. I mean, if you look at the issues he had at the end of his Detroit Pistons tenure, a lot of issues of him losing his mind in San Antonio. But when you find the right place, right situation, man, you could definitely find a diamond in the rough from a guy who be labeled, locker room cancer or having issues. There's always a right place for somebody like that, man. And like I said, Dennis Rodman, key acquisition for the Chicago Bulls, man. And you can definitely argue that without him, they would not have won the second three-peat, in my opinion, because he was that pivotal. So I get it. At the time, I definitely got it because it's kind of like, you should know better. There's a standard. Like, you're not supposed to go in there and steal stuff from a Target. I mean, you should know that as well as both of us know that. You ain't supposed to go to Target, still not. But like I said, I always look at other factors, man. Mental health is right now. You can argue that mental health is a crisis right now in our society, and mental health. Right now it's a big issue, and you just don't know what's going on, man. I mean, it could be stuff behind the scenes. So, I'm holding out hope that, he can definitely further his career and be productive and figure out and work on whatever issue he has, man. Because, I mean, I've had my fair share of issues. I'm definitely not anybody to talk about being perfect, man. Like I said, most of us have dealt with stuff, man. And just, like I said, go talk to somebody. And hopefully the Milwaukee Bucks, they put him in a position to succeed, man. And that's my biggest thing, is just work with a young man, get him right, man. Because the biggest thing at the end of the day, he's a young man. And he made his mistake. And hopefully he learns from that and he moves on and he becomes a productive NBA player. So that's kind of the way I look at it, man.
Yeah, and we saw Jameis Winston, he stole crab legs out of a grocery store. Look at him. He's had a long NFL career.
Yeah.
It's been up and down or whatnot, but, you haven't really seen any off the field. Well, there was one incident, but for the most part, he's been fine, So, like you said, I think if he was a player that was getting more playing time and, a more decorated player or had more accolades, I think they would have kept him, of course. Like if it was, Kuzma who did something like that, I don't think they would release him, because, he's a more, they're invested in him more. But since he was, more of a two-way player, they're like, okay, we're just not going to tolerate it off of this incident. And this happened too with, it was either not Chris McCullough, but it was Devin Robinson who was on the Wizards. And he got a fight. He got in a fight with an Eagles player. The Eagles player was a defensive back. I think his name was like Jalen Mills or something like that. He got in a fight. I thought Devin Robinson was talented too. And then the previous regime, they just cut him. It was one incident, and they're like, yeah, you're gone. Because, he's a two-way player. So it kind of reminds me of that situation too.
Yeah, Jalen Mills. I think he was the guy that had like green hair, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's really tough to really judge, man, because we don't know what the conversation was inside the office, man. Like I said, if this is a reoccurring issue, then I get it, But if it wasn't, like I said, I'm a big second chance guy, man. That's why if you look at, we had videos about almost anybody that's had issues. Kai Jones was a video that we had. And, I definitely believe that people make mistakes, man. I've made my fair share of mistakes. And it's by God's grace that I'm in the position I am now, man. Because, that's the thing. We all are subject to making mistakes, man. So, at the end of the day, the way I'm looking at it is like this, man. I just want him to get his, whatever he's dealing with straight. Just for the longevity of his life, man. Just for him to live a life where he doesn't have to have these issues. And get himself together and have a productive NBA season or NBA career, because he is definitely talented. And so wish him well, man. So before we roll, man, you want to chop it about anything else, man?
No, that's it. Maybe tomorrow we can talk about the All-Star game a little bit and the dunk contest.
The soap opera All-Star game. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go for that. Definitely appreciate you guys, man. We will definitely see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna chop it up about the All-Star game and the dunk contest, because former Hoya, Mac McClung, I'm just saying, he's looking all right. So definitely appreciate you guys, man. So wherever you get your podcast, definitely a 5-star review is much appreciated. On the YouTube side, like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you guys think. Should we have tried to help Ryan Rollins, or was it writing on the wall, and was that a necessary move? So definitely let us know. So hail to the Wizards, and see you guys tomorrow. Peace.